This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Okay, welcome back everyone to the Inside Line F1 podcast, or shall we say an extension of FanCode's Hindi Formula One broadcast, because that's what it is. Kunal and I are not exactly fresh from that broadcast. I've taken a cab journey back home. And that's my tablet speaking in the background. So weirdly, something I said has activated that. Watched a bit of football, had a spaghetti. What a good day. My rival team lost. And the championship, unfortunately, has had a stab in the back, Kunal. Something big has happened today.
Are you talking of football? Because that's clearly the ball or the sport where you need just one ball to play, isn't it? Is that the sport?
No. See, again, I disagree with that. But the Formula One championship.
One sec. There's 22 players chasing one ball to play. So where is the second ball that you're talking of?
Well, it's a mind game.
Isn't every sport a mind game?
Well, every sport is a mind game, but in some games you are mindless, and hence a driver like Lance Stroll, who's had an astronomically worse weekend than Fernando Alonso, somehow ends up finishing in front of him. So I sometimes don't even know what I'm defending or what I'm criticizing. But what a wacky weekend is all I have to say.
Unbelievable, no? I mean, it's literally that we had the break. Everyone's hit reset. Everyone's come back rusty from it. I think it was the best FP2 session since I remember. Lewis Hamilton, double spins, 360 spins, clean ones. Antonelli in the barriers and Lance Stroll in the barriers or the gravel. Max Verstappen makes a wrong practice start. And then the race today, I mean, we didn't speak about qualifying. We didn't do a qualifying live stream. We're probably not going to do many qualifying live streams in the rest of the season.
There is a reason why we didn't. A gust of wind came and it diverted us from our timetable. So it's costed us.
Okay, good point. But and then, in general, there's a lot of content we're putting out. We thought we can take a break on a Saturday. But forget all that. Isaac Hadjar. He needs to be protected, Somil. We need to make sure that whoever we interview next in Red Bull Racing, we try and pass on the message. Please take care of him. Please do not promote him to Red Bull Racing. Of course, I say this in jest, but what a weekend. Did you imagine that Isaac Hadjar would score a podium and then break the trophy?
No. What? He broke the trophy?
Yes. Can you imagine? He broke that trophy.
Wasn't it a hand-painted trophy this time?
Doesn't matter. He broke it with his hands, if that helps.
My God, the F1 should stop with the hand-painted trophies. Like, they've got a bad track record now.
But how is he to blame? I mean, I don't think... Are you saying machines make better trophies than hands?
No, all I'm saying is handmade trophies are like white T-shirts. They look beautiful, but then the chance of spillage is equally high. And Hungaroring 2023? Was it 3? Yeah, 3 pops up to mind. And now this. I think there was another trophy broken in the meantime somewhere. I just don't like the idea of, I don't know, broken trophies. But speaking of broken and trophies, Isaac Hadjar has broken a trophy-less debut season record for the Faenza team that dates all the way back to Sebastian Vettel's first win. That's right. No Toro Rosso driver has ever taken a podium in their debut season since Sebastian Vettel until Alain Prost is... What are they calling him, Kunal? The little Alain Prost or the
mini
Prost?
But one second. Yeah. Pierre Gasly won a race.
Not in his debut season for AlphaTauri.
Oh, yeah. You mean debut season. Yeah, of course. Yeah. My apologies. Oh, yeah. And what a start to that debut. Formation lap, Australia. He spins. He has a DNS, a did not start. Helmut Marko lashes out at him. Anthony Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton rally behind him. And what a recovery. And that podium was on merit because he was right
Yeah.
there. He qualified up there. He raced up there. Of course, he got lucky with Lando Norris's retirement, but he was there to make he was there to pick up the pieces. He was there to pick up the trophy and then put it into pieces that Lando Norris
Yeah.
left behind for him. He didn't put a foot wrong till he actually went to the podium and then he turned left only to realize, oops, actually the podium's to the right. So he's made some mistakes, but not in the car. And I think I love it when I see young drivers actually do well, Somil. I absolutely love it.
And as you mentioned, the important point is on merit. He was there all along. Yes, his pace was not as quick as a Max. Yes, he was, of course, aided by the fact that Russell got clobbered into by Leclerc in a move I vote as the move of the season. I love it. What an overtake. Also aided by the fact that Antonelli took Leclerc out. Also aided by the fact that Lewis took himself out. But nonetheless, he put that car on P4 on merit, in spite of a gust of wind. So,
Absolutely. And so Isaac Hadjar, what a fantastic season. What a fantastic race to do it in Sunfood, to do it in a Racing Bulls car. And, all of F1's pre event simulations actually said Racing Bulls did not have the race pace and that they would drop out of the points or drop lower in the points. But he was right there. And clean races. There were times where he was 8 tenths behind Max Verstappen. Can you imagine? So, congratulations to all Isaac Hadjar fans, to French fans, and I hope this brings up the next French Revolution or next Formula One revolution.
there's been far too many.
Too many of them. But yeah, so that's Isaac Hadjar, and I know we are celebrating stuff. Do we continue with celebrations first, or do we want to? Who do we cry for first? Is it Ferrari? Is it Lewis Hamilton? Is it Leclerc? Is it
I know
Lando
the
Norris?
cry
Is it
session.
Mercedes? No,
Oh,
let's keep
yeah.
celebrating. I want to celebrate. I think,
Exactly.
yeah. Who are we celebrating next? Oscar
No,
Piastri.
Yes. Exactly. That's the same thing I was about to say. The cry session can go on for 45 minutes. But agree or disagree, and I know you will agree to this, but in. Okay, let me rephrase this. Lando's DNF had no impact whatsoever on who was about to win the race. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely agreed. They tried everything. McLaren tried everything, and I loved how fair they were with their drivers. And Lando Norris knew that he had to pull off the overtake on track. Oscar Piastri knew that as well. They were told that. And we discussed this on fan code as well. And what I liked is all, McLaren, even in strategy, they were discussing even things like when there was a safety car period at the end. And I said this on the official F1 broadcast. They told Lando, what are you going to take? Oscar has decided to take a hard, even if it means losing position to you. And Lando said, I'll do the opposite of Oscar. Guess what? The safety car came and both of them actually pitted under the safety car. So McLaren was coaching both drivers, including in qualifying, helping Oscar Piastri pick up the pace, get closer to Lando. Because this was one of those weekends where you just felt like, wow, everything Oscar throws at Lando, Lando just has an easy response to it. He topped FP1, 2, 3, Q1, Q2, whatever you call it. And then when it came to Q3, Lando said, I peaked late. Sorry, Oscar said, I peaked late. But then he said how his entire team helped him get quicker and beat Lando Norris, even though it was finally down to that gust of wind and that minute little toe that Piastri picked up from a Racing Bulls car.
But we love saying these words on the Inside Line F1 podcast. I think we've been saying them even before I joined the podcast. Fine margins. Your favorite word, Kunal?
Absolutely. Fine margins. What was it? Less than it was
12
1/100th. Yeah. 12 thousandths. Yeah. And And again, both, let's put this out there. Because the momentum is in Oscar's favor, the points gap is even more in Oscar's favor, doesn't mean that Lando Norris is driving bad. Ever since Lando Norris got the suspension, not an upgrade like Oscar likes to point out, but he got the suspension parts which helped him feel the car better. Okay. Lando Norris has been up there. He won 3 out of the 4 races before the summer break. He's not made those mistakes we've seen him make in the early part of the season, whether it was in qualifying Q3, whether it was on race starts, opening laps, whether it's in wheel-to-wheel battle, etc., etc. I think both the McLaren drivers have been delivering inch perfect in all the sessions that matter, Somil. And I for once wouldn't want today's DNF to settle the drivers' championship for 2025.
It'll be too early. Too early. You know what kind of worries me a little bit is that normally to win a world championship in a 22 race season or a 20 race season, you need approximately 7+ wins. Like Vettel in 2012 had 5, but 2012 was an anomaly. I think Rosberg in 16 had 9, so did Hamilton in 17, and Oscar's already at 7. I know it's a longer season, and I know that Lando has been a very close competitor and has barely dropped any points apart from that one DNF in Canada. The fact that it's a second DNF and Oscar's not even had one, and I really just want to go through my stats again, and I'll pull up my race results page. I don't think Oscar's finished anywhere beyond the top 4 as he this year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that.
Except for Australia, where he
Except for
finished.
Australia,
Yeah, he's pretty much been there more than
every
anyone
race,
else.
one P4 and one P9, everything else is a podium place, if not a win. That's
I think
phenomenal.
that's consistency. And, a race, a championship season is actually won over consistent results. As you know, even from Keke Rosberg in 1982, right? One race win, but he was consistently out there getting those points. But anyway, so that's to do with Oscar Piastri. We should spend a few minutes talking about the Mercedes power unit. We've seen it fail on on the Williamses, where Williams said that their cooling solutions were not optimal for Mercedes's power unit cooling requirements. We saw some failures on Andrea Kimi Antonelli. All along, we used to wonder, how is it that McLaren is bulletproof against these reliability issues that Mercedes's power units have been facing, right? Now, McLaren is actually facing those power unit challenges as well. Today's oil leak, power unit failure, all of that was down to Mercedes. And I just hope that Mercedes has not settled the McLaren title battle, because even for McLaren, there's been a lot of pressure inside the team. How do we continue to be fair and treat each driver equally while giving them this shot at victory? Now, suddenly there's an outside factor that's come in and settled. I think it's a 34-point lead, and that's crazy,
Yeah.
given A, how consistent Oscar Piastri has been, and how close the two drivers have been as well. So even if Lando Norris, I think I was reading, he needs to win 7 out of the 9 races, with Oscar finishing second to claim the title. So anyway,
So
the
tough. That's
mathematical
so tough.
combinations will be several. But yeah, Mercedes is actually settling this driver championship for 2025 if we go as per today.
You need a DNF and then some more to get a 34-point gap. I I remember it's like 34 points is a very, very big margin to overturn.
And even if he gets a
It's
DNF, that's 25 points for Lando. Okay.
just
Guess there will
25. What
still be a
about,
9-point gap, which is
which is
what
what we walked into
was,
today with?
yeah.
Oh my
I
word. That is.
actually I actually tweeted this, that Lando's luck is probably evened out, and I consider Silverstone, I consider Hungary as races where he lucked out, which is fine. You got to be lucky. Those 2 race wins, Silverstone, Piastri had a strange FI penalty for braking too hard under the safety car restart. In Hungary, Lando was overtaken by other rivals, which is why he could go on a single stopper while Piastri was on a one stopper or whatever, two stopper, as we remember, right? So maybe Lando's luck has evened out now, and this is what it would have been had Lando not gotten lucky with those two. But anyway, that's to do with Lando Norris, what Mercedes power unit has happened, and finally, it's even McLaren that has felt the impact of that, Sommel.
Yeah. No, I just don't like that. I just don't like the fact that a world championship has to be, I wouldn't say decided yet because it's a long season and a lot of things can still happen. And if a power unit can fail on one car, it can fail on the other one too. And wild drivers can come and take you out like a bowling pin, or lightning and strike, or your front wheel can get punctured, or any random combination of things can happen. So it's still not over and done with yet. But still, 34 points is huge. As a Formula One fan, I just don't like hearing that. But what I do like hearing is stats that showcase Ferrari's pain. And I have a fun stat for that. Ferrari have become the first team this year to get a double DNF and also a double disqualification in one season. Has any team ever done that? F1 Stats Group, where are you, my friend? We need to validate this. Double DNF and double disqualification in the same season. What a record.
I mean, we've just moved on from crying about Lando Norris to crying about Ferrari. And very interestingly, so as you guys know, especially the ones in India, but the ones outside of India, I don't sit on the F1 commentary broadcast for fan code. I join in every 20 laps and then go back and I come back. So Somil and Chetan are the one who lead the broadcast, right? And today, when I joined in the broadcast the first time, a few laps in, Lewis Hamilton crashed all by himself at turn 3. He put a wheel on the white line, oil plus water, slippery conditions, onto the sponsor branding that was there, even more oil and water, and crashed. And we said, okay, that's happened. I went back, I joined the broadcast a second time, a few laps later. And then guess what? Andrea Kimi Antonelli, again at turn 3, slams, or pushes Charles Leclerc, spins him around at turn 3, and he's crashed. So any trend out there, Samuel, since you love catching trends and stats?
Turn 3 is not a good turn for Ferrari. It's a very speed racer type turn, if you know what I mean. If you watch,
I'm just glad you didn't blame me for the Ferrari crashes.
You are the least of their troubles, Kunal. You're just a patient observer who appears at times when they have bad moments. There are bigger problems to fix at that team. But if you're a Ferrari fan, your team is going to be very kind to you. See, they're going to offer you a whole buffet of reasons to cry about. Not just one basic iteration that you keep on coming back to, not just a power unit failure every time. They need to give you something special. So they gave you the plank this year. They gave you poor team orders, and they gave you distrust with drivers in Hungary. This time, they gave you a rookie crashing into you, which happens very rarely. Very rarely. It's a once in 10 years kind of occasion. And they also gave you a 7-time world champion making a driver error. That's a good buffet to cry to. Like, it's the whole spread, Kunal. You get everything.
You get everything. Lewis Hamilton has had an incident at least once causing a did not finish. So I mean a driver error leading to a crash or a retirement once every last 5 seasons. Can you imagine? If we go back and try and find it, yes, it's there.
A driver error every season?
Yeah. Yes, for the last 5 seasons.
Can we play a game? Can we play a quiz?
Go for it. I know where this is going. We're 18 minutes in.
22 was Jeddah, very clearly.
21 was the wet race that we had, right? Where he put it in... I think it was Hungary. I can't remember.
Yeah. Wasn't he? Oh, yeah. No, that was a team decision, wasn't it? The Hungary, where he started alone.
No, not that. There was a wet race in 21. He went off. It was reminiscent of Vettel going off in 2019 or whenever Vettel did. But anyway, you guys write in and tell us if you remember which one.
See, this is smart because Kunal normally does not have the greatest memory. He's a writing kind of guy, so he can go back to his notes and pull back that. That's that, and which year and what race it was. Does not mean he doesn't know. He has exactly the record of that. Just that
Absolutely.
we're talking about a different thing right now. So I'm more freestyle that way.
Yeah. But yeah, you have a memory bank. But anyway, so that's to do with Ferrari and what Ferrari went through. Double DNF. And interestingly, before all of this happened, Leclerc, Russell, Antonelli, that was the order. Antonelli was told to swap positions with Russell because Russell had floor damage, right? Because of the floor damage, he had a 0.45% aero balance that was off, all right? And then Antonelli was the lead Mercedes. He was told to go chase down Charles Leclerc. They pitted Antonelli. They pitted Antonelli in an attempt to undercut Leclerc. Now, this is where I don't understand Ferrari's strategy. Why did they pit Leclerc? Right? Anyway, they pitted Leclerc so that Leclerc doesn't get undercut by Antonelli. At that point, they thought maybe it's a two-stop race. Fair enough. Okay. Antonelli was under pressure that he had to overtake Leclerc. And that's why he went in so quick, so overambitious into turn three. And then kaboom, the rookie mistake, the over exuberant driving that we saw. And it was just unfortunate because Antonelli is having the worst season that I can remember for a rookie. I mean, on one hand, we are celebrating Hadjar and Bortoleto, right? But guess what's happening with Kimi Antonelli? He's just unfortunately getting finished this season,
I
and
mean,
he
I
will
don't.
he will get an opportunity to go next season as well because that's what Toto Wolff is going to do.
I think a lot of it is blown out of proportion by just how challenging these generation of cars are. Like it's very sustained, right? The cars have not philosophically changed a lot in the last 4 seasons. They've more or less remained the same. It's just an evolution of the philosophy. So you keep on going from the lower edge of the mountain to the very top, where of course it's a lot more slippery. Same with the Red Bull. If you come to take notice, same with the Mercedes. Ferrari has been a bit of a mystery anyway. But these two cars are great reminders that just if you get stuck with the bad car, if you get stuck with a bad car, and there's no sign of that, not even a bad car, a tricky car, and if that car will not philosophically change for the next few years, you will be stuck, and your reputation as a driver will be determined by what you did in that car. Does that mean you're a bad driver? No, maybe you're a better driver than what the car warrants, but it's just a car you have right now. So people will look at this season and go, Kimi is a terrible driver. But I think he's just driving a very tricky car in a very tricky team in a very tricky season with a very tricky teammate. Just have to be honest about that. Maybe he's better than a Behrman or a Hadjar. Who knows? It's just tough circumstances, but atrocious driving standards on display today. Generally,
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I loved. I mean, yes, we're talking about atrocious driving standards. The Sainz-Lawson penalty made no sense to me, truth be told. Okay, especially when Carlos Sainz got that 10-second penalty, and Lawson was, subject a victim of yet another aggressive radio message. But even if you look at, I think the Leclerc and George Russell penalty, that needs to be celebrated. That doesn't need to be penalized. That, if you remember in the preview, we spoke of turn 10 and 11. We said that's where a lot of ballsy moves would happen. And this was one of those old school Formula One overtakes that we saw at an old school circuit.
so what happened to that? Did the FIA investigate it after all, or did they just say, "Nah, they crashed"? So Leclerc is out. Might as well.
Well, now that you say that, I'm going to check what the race control updates have come to be. But either way, are we done crying about Ferrari? Do we have more to go on
No,
and
I
on
want to
about?
talk about that move, and I want to talk about the race control decision. So let's find it because I am a fan. That has, I'm thinking of memorable Formula One overtakes for the last 5 years. I think of Verstappen on Lewis, Abu Dhabi, as fabricated an overtake that was memorable nonetheless. I am thinking of Through Goes Hamilton, 2022 Silverstone. I am thinking of um, this. This I'm definitely thinking of now. Like
What?
Leclerc on Russell. What a great move.
Yeah. Great move. But I mean, I was just seemingly distracted, but 15 minutes ago, alleged causing a collision, car 63, no further action.
Yes.
Okay. But wait a second, this is car 63. I am yet to see if they've said something for car 16 because that's where the big challenge lies, doesn't it?
Tell us.
I will
Tell
I will
us.
check. I will check. But unfortunately, we got to continue crying about Ferrari a little more because Lewis Hamilton, unbelievable what I've just read, and that's why I'm a little shocked. Lewis Hamilton failed to slow under double yellow flags at 14:23 and 14:25 to
Oh
travel
wow.
at a greatly reduced speed at the pit entry road. So the decision is a grid drop of 5 positions for the next race, which is the Italian Grand Prix, Ferrari's home race, and 2 penalty points. My goodness.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't even know he was under
Incredible.
investigation, unfortunately. Wow.
Well, the man who replaced Lewis and Lewis himself both get a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. No, one gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, one gets it for speeding under a double waved yellow.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder why did they make that decision? Because everything has been going wrong for those two seats. Like it's like you screw Carlos out of it and everything is cursed.
The other good news is that Leclerc is not penalized. So Leclerc and Russell went racing, and the FIA let them go racing. There we go. But
They
Lewis
said
Hamilton's, yeah.
so I'm reading that document. They said the available evidence was inconclusive as to whether car 16 left the track. Yes. Yes. That Kunal, this is a celebration to motorsport. I think we need to grab a drink and just sort of do a cheers to that. The FIA have deemed that Leclerc move to be fair racing. That's You
Wow.
don't seem
You
very
know
happy
what? You
about
know
that.
what? Very interesting question. Rajat is asking, when did Lewis Hamilton's penalty occur? Before the race even started, because that timestamp is a bit of a challenge, right? Now imagine this. It was actually on the way to the grid, and the FIA document says due to the nature of the track, the race director had informed all participants that the last corner before the pit lane would have double yellow flags waved. This was to ensure the safety of those on the grid and in the pit lane. Can you imagine? So Lewis Hamilton did not do anything wrong in the race. Where he went wrong was on the reconnaissance lap when the pit lane is open.
He got a penalty before starting the race and he messed up the race and the driver who replaced him messed up his teammate's race and got
Yes.
a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Circle of life.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Well, no, 5 plays grid penalty is not too harsh, Rajat. No, no, it's not. It's kind of it's about setting a precedent there. It doesn't matter if you're 1, 2, 3, 5, or 50 kilometers per hour over the limit. Imagine if you are 50 kilometers over the limit and Formula One car runs you over. So no, it's
Wow.
you need to be. If you can't have like a sliding scale penalty for offenses like that, right? You can't be like, hey, if you accelerated 100 kilometers over the hour, you get a 20. No, doesn't work that way. It's just not right. It's absolutely not right. So 5 is fair, I feel.
Yeah, and this is again down to safety. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's there. But anyway, what else have we got? We are 28 minutes in. We promised a 25-minute episode. Let's run through some of the other points, Somil.
Lance Stroll, how after a weekend like that has Lance Stroll finished ahead of Fernando Alonso? I just looked at the results at the end. I was like, are you kidding me? Is this real? Am I tripping over something? It's How did that happen after everything?
Let me tell you how that happened. Okay, Lance Stroll started on the new medium pretty much from Q1, right? And then after 8 laps, he made a pit stop and he took on the hard tire. And he went 44 laps after that before taking on another hard. Okay. At that point, I am yet to review my notes and see why did he pit when just 8 laps in onto the medium. There was no incident at that time either, was there? There was no early race incident, right? So Lance just pitted, went into clean air. Clean air is king, as we know, right?
Yeah.
And then he just benefited from the safety car. And I believe at one point, Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso were asked to swap positions because of the tire life delta. And Lance just had fresher tires, which he used to attack the others. So that's what happened. It was a mix of fortune. It was a mix of strategy. In fact, strategy was so good for Lance that Fernando Alonso complained on the team radio and said, "You guys have forgotten y'all went to sleep in the first half of the race."
Well,
Okay, he
did
was
they?
really furious.
Well, it was unfortunate because Alonso pitted a couple of laps before the safety car,
Yeah,
which
5 laps, to be honest.
is so unfortunate. He was so irate at the fact that they couldn't do anything about it, but tough timing. But I'd say it's still a disappointment, is it not? After the pace they exhibited in practice, honestly, it should have been them on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. It should have been Fernando Alonso because I think he was not. I think I'm pretty sure he was one of the drivers who did not maximize uh, qualifying positions, and then it was Isaac Hadjar who did. So that Isaac Hadjar on the grid could have been Fernando Alonso, and that's what we will remember. That's what Aston Martin will be wondering. That yes, we're going to be stuck with Lance Stroll for a long, long time. But hey, guess what? Could we get better with a younger driver who would have not messed it up? Not saying Fernando did, but anyway, so that's what happened to Lance Stroll. Then that's just how racing goes, right? You just get lucky. You have team orders, and in fact there were team orders even at Haas. Esteban Ocon was giving Oliver Behrman DRS so that Yuki Tsunoda couldn't chase him, and then Esteban was very clear on the radio saying, "Please tell him not to overtake, but I'm giving him DRS." Then I believe the similar thing had happened with Pierre Gasly and Colapinto. Colapinto was asked to give position to Pierre Gasly as well. So lots of teams giving team orders as well. And just another point, that I remember that Yuki Tsunoda scored points after 7 races of not being in the points, Somil. Can you imagine 7 races of not having been scored points? In fact,
Well,
if I was to
kind
dig,
of.
yeah, so 7 races of no points. So Red Bull Racing scored double points after 7 races. Haas scored double points after 10 races, and Aston Martin scored double points for the third time in 4 races.
It's been a good few races in that midfield battle. Racing Bulls jumped up from 45 to 60 points, still behind Aston Martin by a little bit. I think a couple of points now. So that battle is really turning out to be good in the
Yes.
midfield.
Isaac Hadjar, who we celebrated, actually is now in the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Can you imagine? And this year's midfield, we know how competitive it is. How many drivers have been in the top 10 there? There's Alex Albon, there's Lance Stroll, there's been, I think, Fernando Alonso at one point. There's been Nico Hulkenberg in and out. There's been Esteban Ocon as well. And now we've seen Isaac Hadjar out there. That's just how crazy it is out there. And Franco Colapinto actually missed scoring points by just 4 tenths. He was 11th. I think you
Tough.
need more stats. Why don't I tell you more stats? Albon finished 5th for the 4th time this season. Behrman went from pit lane to P6, and he scored points for the first time after 10 races. And your favorite driver, Lance Stroll, was 7th, has been 7th in 3 out of the last 4 races, Somil.
Very interesting. We've got a question for you. Would you say today's race was among the most surprising results of the season? Well, in what way? The question is.
Is it because
Agile?
of Lando's? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, kind of, right? But to create a surprising result, you need lots of dominoes to fall. And that's what we had today. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. 2 Ferraris out, Lando Norris out. Suddenly 3 out of 10 point scoring cars get a shot in there. So I like, yes, it was, I wouldn't say among the most surprising ones. I don't remember who won the last race or what the top 10 was, but I like to see Isaac Hadjar has become the first rookie to get a podium this season. I think I can't choose between Hadjar and Bortoleto. I think both of them are fantastic rookies to have. I don't want to choose one over the other. And I think Lando Norris's, power unit failure had a lot of flashbacks of 2016. Rosberg, Hamilton failure in Malaysia. I would say even 2006, Michael Schumacher's failure in Suzuka, some title-defining power unit failures that had happened. Rajat is asking, off the topic. No, it's not off the topic because I can read the question. What are your thoughts on the overtake conditions in Italy? We will have an Italian Grand Prix preview. Somil and I have got some shorts planned on some interesting trivia. I'm going to talk about the time I actually drove on the Force India F1 Team Simulator around Monza. I'll tell you how good I almost beat an F1 driver if I was to call it that. But anyway, there's Alice out there saying, hello there, gentlemen. Pity that Charles got taken out. Great move on George. We've not heard what you thought of that move on George, Somil.
Have you not?
I heard it in Hindi, but I got to hear it in English.
No, you were distracted during that point. I was saying we need to bring up a glass of wine each and clink to it and cheers that real motor racing has won today. And the fact that Charles Leclerc has not gotten a penalty for that move. And the race steward said, there is no conclusive evidence to say that Leclerc was off the track. Yes! Racing has won. Racing has won. It's no more utter woke nonsense, as the Premier League fans would say, which I am.
And while we saw atrocious driving at the Dutch Grand Prix today, I am so glad there is no atrocious race stewarding at the Dutch Grand Prix as well.
If you're a steward and if you see that move and you're like, no, I think that's illegal, I think you're just sad in life. But if you look at that and go, oh yeah, good move. That's when you're a racing driver. And a steward has to be...
Go on. Yes, go on.
Exactly. A steward has been a racing driver. The driver steward definitely has. So if a driver steward looks at that and goes, oh, what a sad, pathetic move. It's a cheat and it's illegal. Sorry, you're sad. You need some sunshine and a beach and just a glass of wine or something, because that is a great move. How can you be annoyed at a move like that? Unless you're Russell. You can't.
Unless you are Russell. Yes. But Somil, the way driver stewards actually put out that this was a bad move or this deserves a penalty. Maybe they should flip that to actually saying, driver steward saying, guess what? This was actually a great move that happened.
It was a great move.
Former F1 driver Pedro Lamy was the driver steward today. And just so you know, he drove for Minardi at some point, and he was the first Portuguese driver to score a championship point at some point as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, Pedro must have been looking at that and going, geez, I wish I could have done that when I was racing in Formula One. This is a really good move.
Do we have time for one last question? Saroj is asking, how would you guys assess Kimi Antonelli's performance so far this season?
I think my summary of it is, don't judge the driver based on just this season. It's a very tricky car, very tough philosophy of car to master, very tough teammate, very high pressure circumstances, and big points he's fighting for, and lots of urgency that's coming into force as well. He's a much better driver than what it seems like. So, but in honesty, 4 out of 10. So
I don't understand these ratings. Not that I plan to ever sit and sit with Somil and be like, hey, I'm going to understand these.
I think Epoch is on.
Did we just go off air or are we still on air?
No, we are still on air. I think you'll have to turn your video off and change the source again. But we will answer that question because Exoteric is here. We can't leave them alone like that.
There we go. Anyway, I can't.
You look different, Kunal.
Anyway, I don't know what's with my camera. It's decided to come on now, I think.
No.
Not yet. I can't turn on the camera while recording, but I can.
So you can You cannot turn on the camera while recording, but you can turn
There
off
we
the
go.
camera. Oh, yes, there you are.
There's another camera. Anyway, where were we? Kimi Antonelli. I mean, I don't understand these ratings. If I'm stuck with Samuel anywhere, I'm not going to sit and discuss how he does ratings, nor with Sundaram as well. But I think he's had flashes of brilliance. I just think he's been put in there too quickly, too soon. That's
1 second. So let's answer that question. Flashes of brilliance out of 10 performances, you've seen brilliance at how many performances?
Maybe 1 or 2.
So that's a 2 on 10, is it not?
No, I don't know. I mean, great guy, great attitude. I would like to know, how he works with his engineers, and I'm pretty sure he's good, which is why Mercedes is going to stick around with him.
So that's 2 more on top of the 2?
That's your 4 on 10 if you're going for that.
That's how you're going to rate it.
Yes. Exoteric is saying, loved the driving today. Yes, we all did. It was exciting. But do we have anything else, Samuel? We're going to see everyone for Monza. Check out our YouTube channel. We are actually doing a lot more content. We are doing shorts. We've started a magazine show, which is every Wednesday or Thursday, where we're trying to figure out when to put it live. But timeless stories, timeless news that we think you all should know of, fun things where we can banter about, Samuel and I. So check out what we did last weekend. It's still not stale. It's not going to be stale for the next 5 years, at least. And check out what we're going to do before Monza as well.
Yeah, which is 15 or some odd hours from today, right now.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I've got to take a flight back home and get a few hours of rest. Kunal's got to pack his bags because he's heading back to second home as well.
Yes.
We've got a bit. Yeah, but we'll be back with some content. Saroj says, thank you so much for your commentary in Hindi. Thank you. I'm glad you hear us. I hope I get to see you guys in Bangalore sometime. Well, you won't hear us in Hindi in Bangalore for sure. But appreciate the fact that you've been tuning in. Thank you, Saroj. We can be a Chetan too.
And I appreciate Exoteric saying, I watched your shorts. Keep up the great English content. I am so glad. But that's it from us tonight, Samuel.
That's it. We have to return back to our normal lives. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy is there a football match going on? Yeah, enjoy the football if you're watching right now. Take care. We'll catch you. Bye-bye.